What's up, life designers? Welcome to Intentional Tuesdays. For the last couple of weeks, we have been talking about the voice of the protector. The protector is that part of you that is really wired to keep you out of trouble, to keep you out of danger. And your protector is well versed in the language of default. She is all about keeping you in a state of inaction, keeping you in a state of status quo and of comfort zone. This week, we're going to be talking about a different voice that lives inside of you. And this voice is very different than your protector. This voice is geared towards action and towards helping you operate from your higher self. So if this sounds interesting to you, then stay with us because we're going to jump right in. So what do we call this new voice that we're going to talk about this week? The Greeks called it your daemon. And the idea here is your daemon is the version of you that is your highest self, the version of you that you could be if you were to reach your highest potential. Your daemon is really your very best you. In the article that accompanies this video, I listed out a lot of the different situations where your daemon might make her voice heard. The gist of it is when the daemon speaks up whenever you are in a situation where part of you knows what the right thing to do is, but part of you is avoiding that. That's one of the most common ways where your daemon shows up. Maybe it's a particular difficult conversation that you've been avoiding, or something that you know that you should be doing that you have been avoiding for whatever reason. These are some of the moments when your daemon is going to speak up, or maybe it's a situation where you could be putting yourself into a situation where you know you're going to have to stretch and you know you're going to have to grow. These are the types of situations where your daemon is going to weigh in. And as I mentioned, it's probably going to come in the form of a whisper. Your daemon is not nearly as assertive and aggressive as your protector tends to be. So you have to listen really closely sometimes to hear the voice of your daemon. And this brings us to our first technique for this week's discussion. And that is when you hear that voice, when you hear that whisper, I find it incredibly useful to notice it, but then also to name it, to actually say, oh, that's the voice of my daemon. And of course, the key here is that you need to understand what the daemon is, because that name, the Greek name isn't quite as intuitive as the protector. But the name daemon, is your highest self. It's the best self you can be. So when you hear that voice in the back of your head saying, you really should do that thing that you've been avoiding. You really should have that conversation. You really should do that task that you know is the right thing to do. When you hear that voice, just simply name it. Just simply say, oh, that's the voice of my daemon. And give it a little bit of an opportunity to speak its piece. And just simply doing that is a really powerful shift. And once you've kind of allowed your daemon to speak its mind, then you go about making whatever decision feels the most logical, the most natural in that moment. Don't necessarily feel like you should always listen to your daemon or always listen to your protector. Just hear their voices, hear their arguments, and then go ahead and do what feels right. But the key there, especially with the daemon, is to name it. So when you hear that whisper, go ahead and point at it and say, there's the voice of my daemon. There's the voice of my higher self weighing in on this decision. This brings us to the second way that you can engage your daemon in discussion. And there's really two ways that you can go about this. This is a more proactive approach. I would say that you would use this approach if there's something, a larger scale decision, a bigger decision, something you've been grappling with for a while perhaps, something a little bit more major that's actually going on in your life. You might proactively use this technique. And there's two ways that you engage your daemon in discussion. You can either speak to it out loud or journaling. I don't recommend that you have a conversation with your daemon in your head. There's something that happens when you speak words aloud or when you actually write them down that's much more powerful than having a conversation in your head, which is you might be tempted to do that. I recommend not. But the two choices are to journal about this or to literally speak out loud with your daemon. And I'm going to walk you through the steps really quickly. They're quite simple, and they apply both in the written or in the spoken approach. So the first step is to literally just get your problem on the table. Just name the problem that you're trying to solve, or speak out or write out the question that you are trying to answer. That's step one. Step two is I would actually engage your protector, and I like to engage my protector first. So just simply ask your protector, what do you think about this particular situation or this particular question? What are your concerns as my protector? What are your concerns that I need to honor? And if you're journaling, just go ahead and journal for maybe 5 minutes or 3 to 5 minutes, just free writing whatever your protector has to say. And if you're speaking aloud, then literally just go ahead and start speaking the protector's words out loud. You probably don't want to do this in an open office space, but in the privacy of your own office, feel free to to speak out loud. The third step is, after you've heard from your protector, go ahead and engage your daemon and say, okay, daemon, what is my higher self? As my higher self, what is your perspective on this particular problem? And allow the voice of your daemon to come through, either through your spoken words or through your writing. One other little technique that I find to be really useful is to shift your position before you engage either of the voices. So when you first ask the question, right before you engage your protector, you're going to say to the protector, what do you think about this particular situation? What are your concerns? Go ahead and literally shift your position. Whether it be just moving around in your chair or actually moving to the other side of the room, changing your physical location or your physical position will get you into the mindset of the voice that you're trying to access much easier. So at this point, you may be saying to yourself, this sounds a little bit hokey. I'm not sure I want to ask to speak to these voices, let alone speak aloud. And I have to just say, you really have to try it, because it really does work. Now, why does it work? Probably the most easily acceptable answer that I can give you is your subconscious mind is already running through the arguments of your protector and running through the arguments of your daemon, unbeknownst to you. So your brain has already done some of the processing on your behalf. And all you're doing with this particular exercise is actually asking to speak to the voice of your protector and speak to the voice of your daemon. So you're just merely bringing to the forefront, bringing into your awareness the work that your subconscious mind has already done on your behalf. So if that explanation sits better with you than the notion that you've got these these entities or these voices running around inside of your head, then just let it be known that these are the voices of your subconscious mind as it's partitioned, and hopefully that works for you. But I promise you that the technique overall, it works really well. It's super powerful. I definitely recommend that you play around with speaking to your protector and to your daemon when it comes to making hard decisions. Well, that's it for this week's Intentional Tuesday. I hope you've gotten a lot of good stuff out of this week's chat. And as always, I appreciate your time and your attention. If there's anybody that you know who might be interested in the types of things that we talk about here in Intentional Tuesdays, or the type of work that we're doing at the Life Design Center, helping people to live lives by design instead of by default, please send them our way. I'm always happy to have a new subscriber, and always happy to chat with anybody who's interested in discussing what we're up to here at the Life Design Center. So until our paths cross again, I wish you a prosperous journey and all the best. Take care.